What does it mean to act your way towards a feeling? This is our Connect and Serve month here at Ridgecrest. Check out today's sermon shorts as Pastor Ray helps us understand more about the need to serve, and in that, just being obedient to then feel the passion for the area that you're serving. Pastor, on sermon shorts today, it's been 2 weeks since we've done sermon shorts. We were a little different schedule last week in the office, but we've been walking through 2 weeks of sermons now talking about serving, and we're in the Connect and Serve month here at Ridgecrest, and that's been a blessing already for us. But this past Sunday, you talked about, when it comes to serving, the need to make sure we are acting towards a feeling versus feeling to an action. Explain that thought a little bit more as we think about serving.
Well, a lot of times people say, yeah, I probably need to serve, but I just don't feel like it. Or I'm waiting till, I have this passion about some particular area of ministry, and then I'm going to jump in. And that's, I believe, a backward position. If you think about the New Testament, you look at the stories of individuals in the New Testament, believers, and they had a passion often for what they did, but you don't see the idea that they did it purely because they had a passion. You see they did it because they were disciples. A disciple means a disciplined one. There are times when we do for God because we know God, because He loves us, and we love Him. We do for God what we ought to do because we ought to do it for God, not because we feel like doing it. And so I'm all for feelings, by the way. I think feelings are an important part of our life, and they're certainly an important part of relationship with God. But a lot of folks, I'm afraid, use it as an excuse or as a rationale for saying, I haven't connected to serve God in anything because I just don't have something I'm real passionate about, or just hadn't. But when it happens, or when I feel more strongly, then I'm going to start serving. And the fact is, most people that are in that category will never find that passion and start serving. But what I have discovered through the years is this, that instead of trying to feel myself toward an obedient action, I've learned to obey and act myself toward a feeling. And what I've discovered is I may tackle things that I know God wants me to do, and on the front side say, I don't have a great passion to do this, but as I continue in that journey, then God begins to move my heart toward a more passionate response to that. So instead of saying, I'm waiting for the feeling, what we do is say, I'm going to serve God. I'm going to find a place to serve God because I'm a part of His body.
Right.
And as part of His body, He's gifted me, and I'm going to employ my gifts in whatever I can do. And I'm going to work toward a feeling instead of trying to feel myself toward some kind of ministry service, that sort of thing. So that's what I mean by that. Instead of trying to feel yourself toward an action, instead act yourself toward a feeling. Right. And you'll be surprised in time how the action leads you to a new passion for the things of God.
Right. So as we think about that, for those that are watching today, and as we kind of wrap up this thought, what would you say to somebody just right now that you were talking to, maybe in the Welcome Center or something like that on Sunday morning, that needed to just do that, just act? What would be the steps? I know you mentioned just find a place to serve, but that can be something that's a little intimidating for somebody. So what's the steps that you would encourage somebody, and maybe even share a story more about your life?
Well, what I think I would say to a person, and I have said this, is ask somebody that you know that already serves. Ask one of our staff, you or some of our other team, say, hey, I'd like to get involved and I'd like to connect in service somehow. Where could you use me?
Yeah.
And that's the starting point. Where could you use me?
That's good.
And when a person answers that, we can usually say, well, we could use you right here. Or we could use you greeting people as they come in the buildings. Or we could use you, in some tasks that maybe they'd never even thought about, but are so important to us doing the ministry. We could use you with children's ministry or student ministry. What I would say to those who are listening who say, I'd like to serve, how do I get this thing started? Find one of us, a staff member, me, somebody that you already know, and our staff are listed on our weekly worship folders. Right. Call us and just say, hey, here's my name, or what. I'd like to get involved. I'd like to connect in service. I just don't know where to plug in to start with. And they're going to say, we'll get you plugged in. Yeah. We'll find the right place for you. But the best question is just to grab somebody, a staff member, or somebody you may already know that is already serving, and say, hey, I'd like to serve. What do I do? Or where do I start? Or who do I talk to? Or who do I contact? Because I think for some people, and many people, I really believe, I was telling some folks at lunch today, I think a lot of people that sit in our congregations really want to serve God. They just don't know how to do what you just asked, and that is, I want to get involved. Will somebody just automatically ask me? Probably not.
Right.
So instead, and they don't know, should I initiate something? Will it come across as arrogant if I say, hey, I'd like to work or serve or this? And we're going to say, not at all. But we may say, well, here's a place we could really use someone. And they may even say, I don't know if I can do that. And of course, we'll train them and help them and understand that. But they may find out when they start doing that, wow, this is a place I'm really able to connect and serve God. And they may find out through that how to move into another role.
Right.
The key is not finding that perfect role. The key is to start serving somewhere. Right. And I think the role will find you.
Right. When you think about this thought, we also might have people viewing today that are already serving. So how would you encourage them to help get more people involved in serving? Because this week I sent some information to my student leaders and talked about how they can help recruit people, and they have influences that you and I don't have within friendships and relationships. Yeah. So speak to somebody for a second of how they can encourage someone else to jump on a team and serve.
Well, you kind of did. If they're already serving, see themselves as ambassadors, for example, student ministry. And so your leaders, what you're encouraging them to do is be ambassadors for the student ministry. Yeah. And that is say, hey, we need some more folks to help us in reaching and building and connecting students. Right. And I already do this. Talk about what you do and then say, hey, why don't you think about joining us and helping us? A lot of times, all it takes is for somebody to ask somebody to do something. Yeah, that's good. And that gets back to what I was saying. I really believe most people sitting in our congregations today, they want to serve.
Right.
They just don't know how to get started, and they don't know if they're just supposed to assume someone will ask them, or is it okay to initiate that? And the answer is it's okay to initiate it. But those who are serving should be on the lookout for additional servants. And many times, because they have contacts of people they know better than you and I know,
right,
they can say to them, hey, why don't you come help us in the student ministry? And because they already have a relationship with that person, it'll help them feel a little more at ease going into a ministry maybe they've never done anything with. And so, I say to our existing servants and workers to see themselves as recruiters.
Yeah.
Into service, to work with them in things. And it's a powerful, in fact, I think it is probably as powerful or more powerful than any way we can recruit, is to let the current people serving invite their friends and their contacts into the role of worker or servant with us.
Yeah, that's a great challenge for us all to think about. And thank you, Pastor, for these words, this encouragement. And we do want to remind everyone during this Connect and Serve month, there's a place for you. And we'd love for you to jump on board and reach, build, and connect with us here at Ridgecrest.
And I would just add to that in this special emphasis, remember, we've got Connect booklets all over our campus where you can pick up a Connect booklet. And it'll have a QR code if you use those, and you can scan it. It'll take you right to a place on our website where you can put in information about areas that you'd like to serve in or like to have at least information about. It's a catalog as well. It kind of tells you about ministries. You can do that, especially during this monthly emphasis. As you said, we've had a wonderful response. And if you're wondering out there, what can I do? Well, look for one of those little standing kiosks and take a brochure and look through it, and then scan the QR code, and you'll have an opportunity to list out some areas where you may feel like you could connect.
Yeah, that's great, Pastor. Thank you again for these words, and thank you all for checking out Sermon Shorts today.
Yeah.